Let me talk to him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
How awesome was that? Hello and welcome everybody to the inaugural edition of the Other Alliance Guys podcast. I'm going to do this like you, Jay. This is a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and rumors around the National Wrrrrrrrrrestling Alliance. You guys already know the Alliance Guys podcast of where J Cal and DKM and Jaden take an in-depth look at what's going on in the NWA Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 5 Pacific. So you've already heard the best. Now you get to hear the rest. This is the Other Alliance Guys podcast. We're bringing you all new, all different content. My name is Tim Wood. My handle is NWA Gold, and I am honored to be joined by the Other Alliance Guys tonight. In no particular order other than how they appear on my screen. Fighting out of Colorado Springs, his Twitter handle suggests that you had best try Jesus because he throws hands. We call him Jeremy. You call him Wrestling with the MMA. How you doing, Jeremy?
Doing good. Glad to be here today.
Yeah, glad to be here too. And fighting out of Baltimore, Maryland, the man who tells us that music is his drug, but assures us that he's medically cleared to be here.
Yep.
We call him Dave. You call him Dave Scooby. How you doing, Scoob?
I'm doing good.
Good. And lastly, a man who needs no introduction at all. He's the boss. He's the dad of the Wrestling Alliance family. And he's fighting out of the great state of California. And he's fully trusting us for some reason with his brand, with minimal supervision, which I'm sure he will come to regret. It's Mr. PMA himself, Mr. Alliance Wrestling. It's J Cal. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm already feeling upstaged on the premiere episode. Good job.
Oh, good. That's my job. I got to step the game up around here. We got some people in the chat, I'm sure. I'm just going to see. I see Willie Bowen. How you doing, Willie? Thank you for coming. Always here. Damian Cole, 2 minutes late. That might have been us. We might have been 2 minutes late, but I see my Globa 5 is up on my screen. Welcome. And I'm sure more will be joining us as we go. We are 60 minutes long in this program, so we got a lot to fit in today. Stuff we're going to be touching in on this program. We're going to be talking about the show recaps, just some results from NWA USA and NWA Power this past week. We are going to have a round table discussion where we're going to be talking about the women's tag team division and what should be done with that. We've got a segment that we are calling This Is Awesome, You Effed Up, where we're going to be talking about booking this week. This is awesome, the booking of Camille and You Effed Up, the television pilot. We'll be looking at you guys in the chat to weigh in. We're going to be, what else are we going to be looking at? We're going to look at some UWN recaps from Jeremy. I'm going to touch really briefly on something really cool and interesting I found on the internet around the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And Scooby's going to bring up some historical booking about stuff that did work in the past, how it works today, if it can work today, and maybe how he would book it. We're going to be talking about bringing back the 5 count. I love the 5 count, Dave.
I remember it. Basically, it was, I believe it was King Kong Bundy, but several of wherever you would go, if there was a big man and they could use it to his advantage, they did. So I think if done correctly, it could be used current day with with the exception of, I don't know. Well, we'll get to it later on when we discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me throw up one of my. Look at this. Look at that. This is superior podcasting right here. We're looking at. First of all, recaps from NWA USA. We'll look at season 3, episode 2, and NWA Power season 9, episode 3. Starting with NWA USA, we had Luke Hawx taking on at the beginning of that show the debuting Thrillbilly Silas with Pollo Del Mar. Luke looked great. He wins this with a spinning kick. I feel like Silas can be something in the NWA. He's got a fun manager. My only other thought was DKM said back on the A level show that why did the debuting people always lose on Power? I don't know. Jeremy, what did you think of the match?
It was a good match. He's got good size, good look to him. He's got good moveset from what we got to see of him so far. You add in Pollo, and I mean that's money right there. She's a great manager. She shows up, and she just adds a good element to a debuting person. We know who Pollo is, so that already gives him an in. I think it was smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave?
Well, my thought, I mean, it was a good showing. I'm just wondering if they're going to have Thrillbilly continue with the NWA. You'd want to partner Pollo with someone that is going to be featured on a regular basis, so both of them get screen time.
Yep.
That if you're bringing in somebody from the outside, keep that person at least for, I'd say, the next two set of tapings, and I mean that's what for the next 6 months. Build a story out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Jay?
So I'll be honest, I didn't catch the show yet. I usually watch that on Thursdays as I prep for the Alliance Guys podcast, the A show, if you will. However, having spoken to Pollo, and I say spoken, I really mean just texting back and forth. Actually, no, I did talk to Pollo once before, and the knowledge that Pollo has for not just pro wrestling, but specifically the National Wrestling Alliance, she's an asset, and I would be very happy to see what contributions Pollo continues to bring, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. Pollo has famously said that she would like to manage the Crockett Cup champions, and so perhaps maybe 1 year from now we're talking about Pollo being the manager of champions, being the Crockett Cup tag team tournament champions.
Yeah, great videos on her Facebook page if anyone wants to look at that, or just around her being the manager of champions. We get May Valentine interviewing, standing between Austin Idol and Black G's as they start complimenting each other. No, Chris Silvio's next. Excuse me, in my notes. So Mr. Esquire, as she calls him, there's some fun banter. Objection sustained. He says Eric Jackson versus Jack Stain is not going to happen tonight. If he has anything to say about it, which clearly he doesn't, because that's going to happen tonight. We then have May standing between Idol and G's, and they sort of compliment each other at first. Idol says, I really trust G's. G says, it's great. This is a partnership. I love having no boss. And Idol kind of goes, wait a minute now. You are the junior executive in Idol Sports Entertainment Management, or whatever it's called. And G's wants to drop that, and it kind of smells like the split is coming. Dave, what did you think?
That's exactly what I thought. It's I don't know if it's a red herring that they're throwing out there to sort of push you the other way, but it maybe it's just growing pains that G's got a taste of some success, if that's what you want to call it, and I could see them actually splitting now that Scion is with Austin Idol. That it's more or less a family affair. That you split one goes one way, one goes the other, and they end up meeting somewhere down the line, either for TV title or a tag title, something to that effect.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeremy.
I had the same feeling as well. Something's going to happen down the road. I'm not sure what. I'm interested to see what happens. I like G's. He's got a good look. He's great in the ring, and he's a good talker. I mean, you put a mic in front of him, and he could go forever. I feel, and never miss a beat. So
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued to see what happens here.
Yeah, me too. Jay, you want to throw anything in?
Well, I feel like they've been planting the seeds since all the way back to Crockett Cup. When you looked at Crockett Cup Night 1, it was G's who was delivering the talent to ringside. It was a combination actually of G's and Tyrus, your television champion. So I feel like maybe the seeds have been planted for a while now, and we're starting to see it pay off. And that's something that the NWA doesn't always provide, is that payoff. So I think that's what we're seeing.
I kind of feel like, I think we said this the other day or last week on the Alliance Guy show, like 75% of the talent that could go after the TV title is in this stable. So I kind of feel like you've got Jordan Clearwater, you've got Marche Rocket, who else? Well, you've got Black G's. I mean, bringing some of these talents out of that group and putting them on different sides really kind of frees up that opportunity there. And so despite what Chris Silvio told us, as we know, Jax Dane is going to face Eric Jackson for the national title up next. Dane doesn't take off his vest for this, which he hasn't been doing recently. It's a delicious sign of disrespect. Kind of dig it. My favorite part of this match, by the way, was actually the commentary where Gally says, "What can Eric do to win here?" And Velvet and Tim Storm are like, he can roll out of the ring and leave.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty funny. Now Eric Jackson looks like good enhancement talent. He looks like $1 million. He needs the experience, which is why he's here at this spot. But this is a beatdown. Dane pops the trunk. I don't know why they had the Silvio spot. Jeremy, what did you think of this one?
It did what it was supposed to do. It's make Jax look like the monster that he is, I feel. I'd like to see Jackson maybe shoot for the junior heavyweight title, or at least go in, not necessarily shoot for it, but be in that grouping instead of coming out and trying to tackle a mountain.
Yeah. Dave?
I think Eric Jackson was trying to make a statement, and all he did was not so much make a fool of himself, but he wasn't quite ready. Maybe down the line, but I think, like Jeremy said, size-wise, he is a junior heavyweight.
Right.
Build up, fighting others your size, and then down the line, if you can step up, do so. If not, just step out. Just stay in your weight division.
Yep, for sure. It is what it is. It shows as much for Jax Dane as it does for Eric Jackson. So that was pretty much it for the show. So we'll move on to Power. This is this past Tuesday, yesterday, the 28th, season 9, episode 3. Starts off with a Matt Cardona interview where Matt kind of takes the mic and says, and it kind of introduces Kyle Davis and asks him who made him submit or pin to lose the championship. And Kyle, by the way, as far from my face, the best facials and the best commentating in the NWA right now. He says nobody does. No, basically he tells Murdoch to keep his title warm, and that reminds Billy that he better be a man of his word. Dave, do you think there's anything to that bit for telling Billy Corgan he's got to be a man of his word, or you think it's just going to be a straight title shot down the road for Matt Cardona?
Well, I'm not sure if he was quote unquote stripped of the title. He relinquished the title, but he was never. No one ever pinned him for it. So he does have a stake at going after a title he never lost. I mean, the same thing would apply if Jack Stain, if he was injured and he was stripped of the title. The same thing with Camille. Camille is a one-time champ, as they say, but if she was injured and they had to take the title, she never lost the title.
Right.
She just relinquished it because she was unable to fulfill her duties as champion. I mean, as much as some people may not like Cardona, give the man his due. I mean, for what he's done.
Oh, I lost you, Dave.
Uh-oh.
We'll wait for Dave to drop back in, but
With the NWA.
we lost the last little bit there, but I think we get the general gist. You're back now. That's good. Lost you for about 10 seconds. We go to Genocide and Missa Kate, an interesting tag team versus, unless I'm missing anything, versus Max the Impaler and Chelsea Green. This was an interesting match. Chelsea tagged Max in the beginning and almost gets clobbered, and it's kind of clear as part of the storytelling of this match that Max doesn't quite get the rules of tag team wrestling, or at least doesn't care. It's funny, like there's some talent in this match. Like Missa Kate missed a spot in this, and it's all about the recovery, man. Like she did a great job, Chelsea did a great job just trying to cover it up. And Genocide shows a lot of power in the match. I like when Max uses Chelsea as a weapon, as they say, just kind of like, here's my partner and I'm going to beat you with her. Airplane spin into a cutter. I thought that was an awesome move. I'm probably stealing all the good stuff from this, but Max gets the win with the Welcome to the Wasteland. Jeremy, your thoughts on the match?
This was a fun match. You had two big, strong personalities in there, and then you had two conniving, smaller personalities in there, and they all four meshed really well. I feel in the match. I'm with you in the human weapon, human tag team weapon throw. That was great. It was just a good match, and I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. It was just a variety of styles, and like they say, styles make wrestling. I mean, it was just almost like a Mutt and Jeff tag team, where it wasn't expected, and you're looking at it, and I'm like, this may work, this may not work, but let's see where it goes.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm glad to see where it went, and having Max get the win pushes Max up to possibly go after Camille. Same thing with Chelsea. A win, even if it's a tag team win, ups your value.
Yep.
Any win gets you up the ladder.
That's right. Yeah, rising tide kind of floats all the particular boats in this match. Everybody looked good. We had May interviewing Rodney Mack. Says, "Hey, you look rejuvenated." Rodney says, "Yeah, there's a reason for that, and you'll find out who that is. That has made me, a new man soon enough." Which leads us into Gustavo Aguilar, a Latin lover. and he's in a three-way match, which I'll tell you guys straight up, I do not like three-way matches. This one was better than usual, but not a fan. He's facing Sal the Pal, PJ Hawks. This one was, there's some good spots, there's some good good things happening in it, some silly stuff happening in it. Dave, what was your impression of this junior heavyweight match?
I thought it was a good match overall, but it had me scratching my head. If you're highlighting the junior heavyweights, having PJ win is a good thing, but yet at Always Ready, he just fought Homicide. So are they building him back up from the bottom? And how many people that are in the junior heavyweight division are ahead of him to go after that title?
Right.
I mean, I know right now they have a very strong story going with Luke and PJ and what happened with Homicide.
Oh, we lost audio there. Can you guys hear?
Dave, we lost you.
Yeah,
Now we're starting all over again.
Oh, you're back. Yeah. PJ wins with the Hawks clutch. I kind of wonder if it's going to be one of those situations where, I hope that Uncle Homicide and Dad don't get too mad at each other, and he ends up somehow stealing the title between them. But we had May interviewing La Rebellion. This made me kind of chuckle a little bit. They're saying Harry Smith in their title match was in the ring for 45 seconds when he wasn't supposed to be there, which is pretty much what happened sort of near in the match that comes up later today. Also, this is tag team wrestling, and in the NWA, everything seems like a tornado tag all the time, so I'm not really sure what the big deal is. But there's a Lucha rules match that is set. Nobody explains what that is, but we do find that out before that match happens. However, the next match is Adorable Anthony Andrews versus the Red Dog himself, the 51-year-old former cage fighter, Rodney Mack. I thought it was pretty funny that Andrews claims that he's undefeated, but this is all Mack, who comes out with Aaron Stevens. And Aaron's like Aaron is his manager, and Velvet tells us, "Oh, I'm hearing from the back that Aaron's got his manager's license now." And Aaron is really muted in this match, and near the end of it, he just stares creepily at Andrews after Rodney puts him away with at least what used to be called the blackout. I don't know if it is not or not now, but Jay, what did you think?
So again, I didn't actually see the match.
Oh, that's right.
But Red Dog Rodney Mack is one of my favorites. That guy's connection with the NWA goes back, almost 20 years. NWA Southwest, wrestling against Dan the Beast Severn, wrestling against Chris Candido, wrestling against some of the guys that built not Chris Candido, Steve Carino, apologies. Some of the guys that laid the foundation for what the NWA is today. So mad respect for Red Dog, mad respect for Rodney Mack. I just can't wait to see this match.
Yeah, Jeremy?
I liked it. It was a good flowing match. I was really paying attention a lot more to Aaron Stevens on the outside of the ring. Just that man can work a crowd and can work the ring. And I'm interested to see where this goes between him and Rodney Mack and what this leads to with them.
Yeah, Aaron really can work it with a strange energy sometimes. He just kind of stands there. It's very odd, but there's something compelling about it. Dave, what did you think?
I really don't know what to say. I mean, I was surprised when I saw it, and it's not like Rodney needs a manager. It's not like he needs somebody to talk for him. But it piqued my interest as to where it's going to go.
Right.
And I mean, I'm glad that they're using Rodney. I mean, he comes in with his wife. And I mean, if they can use him to build up other talent as well as himself, and I mean, he's a well of knowledge. I mean, he's just an amazing guy. I mean, I worked with him years ago in Arkansas, and I mean, nicest guy ever. But I mean, he gets in that ring and just flips a switch, and he just focuses, and he does what needs to be done. And I mean, it's really piqued my interest as to where the story's going. And I was at the tapings, and I saw this, but I wasn't at the tapings that followed in Nashville. So I'm in the dark after like the next week. I have no idea what happened. The people that I do know that went to the tapings, they're not spilling their guts for anything.
Yep.
Are you
So
sitting
I
right
mean,
beside, yeah, sorry to
I'm
cut you off.
looking at it with I know what.
Are you sitting in these? Sorry, you're cutting out there. Are you sitting in the tapings beside Sandoval? I can't tell.
Excuse me.
Sorry, we lost you. But are you sitting in the tapings in the front row? Are you right beside Santa for this taping? Yeah. Okay, I thought so. I wasn't sure though. All right, so we get a replay of. What do we get a replay of? Silas and Luke Hawks. And then La Rebellion takes on the Commonwealth Connection. We learned that Lucha Rules is there's a 20 count outside the ring. And if you slide out of the ring, that's basically you've tagged your partner in. Which made me think, oh, this is going to come into play at some point near the end of the match. There's about 7 minutes left in the show when this match starts, and I'll go last on this one. What do you think, Jeremy?
I love watching La Rebellion wrestle. It's so much fun. Those guys bring an energy that I've never seen in wrestling, period. At all. Harry Smith Jr. and Doug Williams, just getting to see Harry Smith Jr. in the NWA that's Christmas, birthday, all the holidays rolled into one for me. This was a fun match, and I really enjoyed it.
How about you, Dave?
Like Jeremy said, it was a real fun match. It was quite fast moving, and I was like, is Doug going to be able to keep up? And Doug took it to him, and I mean, both teams gave it their all, and I'm just looking forward to see what happens in the tag team division going forward. Does La Rebellion continue? Do they move on? Who are the next challengers for the tag belts? What happens coming up at 74? We're basically, about 2 months away? So there's a good 60 days left to build on your TV and see what they can work to.
It will be interesting. I guess I didn't say the end of this match. Sorry to spoil it for you, Jay. But this was a good match. Like the boys are saying, there's power, there's aerial activity, there's scientific stuff in this match. It's short, but it ends with I think it's Mecha Wolf does a dive to the outside. He crushes Williams on the outside, but this, therefore, because he's left the ring, this tags in Bestia, and he goes for a dive. Harry kind of catches him halfway, power slams him out of nowhere, and pins him to retain the titles. I liked the match. I thought it was great. I know they can't just keep going with these two teams over and over again. I would still like to see this one more time.
Why not?
Well, you don't want to see the same anybody go after each other for over and over and over again. I guess is the general comment I'm going to. But yeah, I'd love to see this again.
So if I could just say a few things and then I'll shut up, I promise. This isn't my show. And thank you for letting me hang out with you guys. But the thing about Harry Smith, and I'm piggybacking off of what Jeremy said, is this guy is such a phenomenal athlete. And he trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so he's MMA ready. I mean, he's a former 2-time NWA World Tag Team Champion even before this latest incarnation. And the last time we saw him in an NWA ring before the Crockett Cup was as part of New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he was defending those tag titles. And so for me, it's an extreme treat to see him here. I hope he sticks around. But quite honestly, I think putting him in a tag team is a wild waste of time and talent. I would like to see Harry Smith either enter the world heavyweight conversation, at the very least the national championship, because could you imagine the two bulls, the two hosses, by putting Harry Smith in the same ring with Jack Stane? Unbelievable. I just think that would be a money match.
Take my money.
And I want to say hi to Jaded Candy, because I haven't seen her on one of our shows before. So look at that. You guys are already pulling in new viewers. Check you out.
Yeah, that's she pointed out earlier. That's Jade Justice. If you see her on Twitter, recent online friend, and very active out there in our community. So welcome. That was it for this show, though, and I'm already let this drag on too long because I had too much book for 60 minutes, I guess. So I guess I'm gonna have to be like a promoter backstage cutting out matches as we go. But let's go to this. Let's go right to the roundtable. Roundtable segment, since we're talking about tag teams right now. What can be done with the NWA Women's Tag Team Division? We have new champions and Pretty Empowered following their win over the Hex at Always Ready. Who else is in this division? And I guess the main question I have is what teams can be made to contend. And before we get into that, I'll come back to that in a second. The Hex traveled all around, Europe and other places recently defending these titles. Is the answer when Pretty Empowered is done with the title to put the strap back on the Hex and let them continue to do that abroad if there aren't enough ladies tag teams to make this division worthwhile? I'll start with Jeremy. What teams would you want to see come in here? Who would you want to see put together, if anybody? And what would you do with the titles?
There's a lot of talent that's out there that could be brought in. We got to see two new teams with Genocide and her name completely just blanked on me. But then Max the Impaler and Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
And those were interesting tag teams. On the flip side of that, I wouldn't mind seeing a powerhouse tag team pairing of Genocide and Max the Impaler. Yeah. That would be an unstoppable, for me anyways, I feel an unstoppable tag team.
Yeah, that's like Hawk and Animal in the female persuasion.
Exactly. Yep. As far as who I bring in, that I don't. I'm just I'm not really sure on that. I've thought about it and thought about it, and I don't know who I bring in, really. You know,
Yeah,
as
this is what Willie's saying. The NWA needs a legitimate women's tag team. Dave, any thoughts on who you'd bring in? Jeremy, by the way, you want to check your mic. I think you got a lot of static coming through there, man.
okay, let me check it.
Okay.
I'm not really sure I would bring in any tag teams, being that Pretty Empowered is from the Knoxville area, where whatever federation they are in, let them highlight the belts and travel in the Tennessee area, in the Georgia area. When they're not doing filming, let them defend the belts, being that it's an understanding that we are the champions and we're going to defend the belts wherever we go. I mean, highlight your champions wherever they may go. And I mean, if they can just get a little clip of them wrestling to then show on program.
Losing some sound here.
That I mean, they were a team before they joined the NWA. Now just highlight them as an NWA women's tag team.
Do you think, Jay, striking a deal with Mission Pro or anyone else, Impact or any of the people here, is an option, or independent as they go?
So luckily enough, Brian Rosa joined us yesterday. Brian Rosa, Thunder Rosa's husband, and the man that's helping run Mission Pro Wrestling. And he said, like, look, there's nothing stopping the NWA from using Mission Pro talent. There's nothing stopping Mission Pro from using NWA talent. There isn't exactly like a pipeline per se, but they have no problem working with each other. But the thing is, if you're not contracted, you're just able to work wherever you want to. So for the women of Mission Pro, I mean, they're more than welcome to work with the NWA and vice versa, as long as there's that need, that Billy Corgan or Pat are on the line trying to get some of these talents into the NWA. But as of right now, there isn't like a direct pipeline. I do have a few names that I wanted to throw out there if I could. First and foremost, a tag team that has been relatively untapped by the main wrestling promotions out there right now is Blonde Force Trauma, which would be Heather Monroe and Ray Lynn. They've teamed together for quite some time on the independents, but they haven't really made a big impact on any of the bigger promotions. And I think the combination of the two of them would work very well, especially in the NWA, especially against Pretty Empowered. And then, of course, a throwback to the tag team we haven't seen in a while, which was Tootie Lynn Ramsey and I forgot her name real quick. Let me see. Kylie Ray.
Kylie Ray, yeah.
I felt that they were a very good tag team and didn't really get, obviously the NWA has a problem with crowning champions without really having a division to keep it up. Like we've talked about on the Alliance guys, you should have about 5 decent challengers before you create a title. You look at up and down the NWA roster right now, they don't have 5 good contenders for any title. I mean, we might just now be getting there with the 10 pounds of gold, but I mean, the TV title, the national title, the junior heavyweight division, the men's tag team. I mean, all up and down the board, I think there's a lot of good talent, but I don't think they've been put in the right position to succeed. And the same can be said about the women's division. When there are a ton of ladies in the NWA, Maddie Rakowski, another pairing that I just thought of would be like Natalia Markova teaming up with her manager / best buddy, Taryn Terrell. I think putting them as a tag team would be better suited for the NWA, at least as it is currently, because with Kylan King still wanting to challenge for the women's world title, with Max the Impaler wanting an opportunity to challenge Camille, and the other talents that are in the NWA, I think now would be a decent time to kind of start making some of those single competitors in the women's division into tag teams.
Yeah, for sure. That's I think those are good points. Is there any sense, guys, that Empower 2 is happening this year, or is 74 just a 2-night event? Jeremy, do you know? Anybody know?
I have no idea. I haven't a clue. I did see where Mickey James and Nick Aldis had trademarked or registered or whatever the Empower names. So I don't know what's going on there. I was under the impression that was a Mickey James thing the first time around more than an NWA. I think it was more of an NWA presents a Mickey James Empower type thing, but I could be way off base with that. But I haven't heard anything about it going on at all.
Willie says Rosemary and Jessica Havoc are a good tag team. I haven't seen them. But Japan Pro Wrestling during the 90s, the tags were used to push single wrestlers. As 69. Should the women's tags be used that way? I mean, I don't know. I think we got problems right now that there's some possible solutions that we're talking about here, and hopefully one of these will come to light and everything will be much more progressive. Let's move on though. We got again lots to pack in. Don't worry, if anything gets cut, guys, it'll be my stuff. So don't worry. Let's talk about our segment. This is awesome. You effed up, and this is where we take something good very quickly, which in this case is the booking of Camille, and you effed up, which for me again is the booking of a television championship. So let's start with this is awesome. What's going right with this right now? Camille's been booked as an undefeated monster. She's defended outside the NWA. She's defeated everyone. She's been champ for over a year. Killian King had a short walk to the title scene, but it was booked well. She was booked well in that period as a serious contender. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, the fallout of their match has King saying, "Look, I took you to the limit. You were better than me that night. I'm going to go back down to the bottom. And I'm going to work my way back up." And then the King's coming to take on the Queen. And the booking for this is almost as useful booking for Killian King as it is for Camille. But it seems to put both of them in, after they were the show stealer at the pay-per-view in that match, which surprised me. What are with what's going so right in Camille's overall booking with her most current feud? What pitfalls are in the booking that Camille faces right now? I'll start with you, Jay.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I thought you said Jeremy. Okay. So I think the biggest pitfall with Camille is what's the problem? A victim of her own success. You've got Camille out there. When you look at the list of names she's beaten to get to the title and to be champion and to retain that title. I mean, it's kind of a who's who of women's wrestling, right? Because she's beat Chelsea Green. She beat Thunder Rosa to get to that title. She beat Serena Deep to win that title. She beat legit Layla to retain that title. And the list of names she's beaten have been very, no pun intended, impactful names. The problem is there's nobody in that division right now that's been built up properly to really stake a claim. I mean, Kenzie Page has had how many opportunities at that women's world title match? Kylan King, she came in after almost a year's absence from the NWA and had one number one contenders match in a three-way dance to become the number one contender. I mean, where's the build? Someone like Genocide, who has been quietly waiting in the wings for this opportunity, has not had a shot at Camille since Camille's been world champion, and has just been sitting there. I feel like a win streak for Genocide would be a great way to build her as a legitimate contender. If we need to go outside again, I mean, there's always Tasha Steelz, who's called out Camille via the social medias. Tasha Steelz, most recently the Impact Women's Knockout Champion. Then you also have, I think Taya Valkyrie's got to surely be considered, because Taya Valkyrie is a female who not only is on her own path of collecting championships, but they've kind of already met twice now in an XPW ring. And if it wasn't for Sam Shaw, Camille would be the XPW Women's World Champion too. So, I mean, there's a field that's been brewing outside of the NWA that would be easy just to bring it right in to the NWA. So I think the biggest pitfalls, to answer your question, I'm sorry, is they just haven't built up her competition. They've done a great job of marketing Camille as the one-time champion. Her promos are getting better. Her in-ring work is getting better. She's definitely, in my opinion, the face of the NWA currently. But I don't think she has a good rivalry, a good feud. Nick Aldis had Tim Storm. Trevor Murdoch had Chris Adonis as the national champion. Who does Camille have?
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. Dave, let me ask you, what would you deal with Camille now? And maybe more importantly, when it's time, how would you end it? How would you end her one-time reign?
Well, if I was booking this, back when Camille was silent but violent, when she didn't talk, she let her actions speak for her. Right now,
You guys hear Dave?
can you hear me?
Yeah,
There
I can
he
now.
is.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes she seems unnatural when she's talking. That she's trying to get so much information out there that more or less, just keep it simple. Less is more. Right now, I don't know who could come in and take it from Camille. But my thinking, I'm trying to remember what match it was. I think it was it the Nick Aldis Latimer match when she threw in the towel for
Right. Kind of frozen up there, Dave. I'll go to Jeremy. I thought I was frozen. Nope. Okay. Jeremy. So,
Yeah.
what would you do now? What's the? I have a problem where I don't understand if right now if Camille is a heel or a face, and that makes me stumble when I'm thinking about booking her. And I think that's something we talk about another day. We talked about it briefly last Alliance Guys podcast, but about who's a heel and who's a face in this company, and there's a lot of gray. But how would you move Camille forward, and who would you look at to be her next opponent?
I think moving forward, she's a face. The crowd loves her. she controls the ring. She controls them every time she comes out. She can say anything and they cheer her. You know, she's a face. Moving forward, I think you need to build up someone like Genocide or Max the Impaler that is a complete matchup where it's pound for pound. These two are identically matched, you know, power wise, whatever. And I think Genocide would make a good heel character, and Max the Impaler is it's Max the Impaler. I don't think they have to have a heel or a face label there. They're just Max the Impaler, you know. And I think either one of those would be a good way to help shape Camille into a proper baby face and just get that gray area out of the way. And would also, you know, if it was time to take the belt off of her, that'd be a good way to do it, you know.
Yeah, I love how Max the Impaler just defies labels. That she's just this reeking, you know, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome super character out there. That's just, even if you see her on social media, she'll like, you know, another talent will post something about this was a great match, and Max will post it all caps like "ha, destroy you," that kind of thing. Like it never slips. Yeah, I digged them a lot. Let's talk about the other side of this, though. You effed up, at least from my point of view, NWA, around the booking of the television title. Still on Tyrus, and Tyrus winning his sixth match and nearing the lucky 7. I get the impression that the NWA might even say that he's had 7 at this point. I would argue that he's been booked, that the title has been booked wrong for Tyrus's entire reign. I don't want to say Tyrus has been booked wrong, but the title has. The guy is 6'7", and he's great on the mic, but he's 49 years old, and I know I can't go at, you know, it's a little bit over that age, and he's lost a few steps. There's a limited ability there. No one in the television title picture, in my mind, was built up to take this belt from Tyrus other than Mims. And then Mims, again, I don't know what happened at the pay-per-view. If he was legitimately hurt during that match and the ending had to change, then I get it. But if not, if he was supposed to win or supposed to not win the title that night, it seemed to me like a terrible, terrible decision. So, Dave, how do you think the television title should be, presented in the NWA as a whole? How do you view it as a strap, and what's its value, and are they doing it right or wrong?
I'm not going to say they're doing it right or wrong, but
Scooby, we lost you again, brother.
like Jay says, as a
You're back now, I think, Dave.
Scoobs, I think we lost you, brother.
Let's wait for Dave to get back, and we'll come back to him with that question. Jeremy, does a 385-day reign do anything for Tyrus or anything for the title?
Oh, it does everything for Tyrus. You know, it does nothing for the title, in my opinion. Growing up, the TV title was, to me, the face of the company. That's who you saw every single week, you know. And You expected them to be able to carry the show. They had to have the match that carried the show. And Tyrus can theoretically carry the show if he's got a mic, but I don't want to see him in the ring anymore. It's just stick to commentary. You're far better at that. I don't want to see him in the ring anymore. I don't care if they have to book it to where it's a mugging and someone just clubs him and takes the belt from him. Just get it off of him.
I want to go back to Dave before we talk to Jay, because I think you're on to something about the television title overall. Dave.
Yes, I was just saying, I mean, Tyrus is already known. He used the TV title to build up-and-coming talent. And like Jay had said, Jeremiah, use him as a gatekeeper. If he was if he won the TV title, that's your proving ground. That's how you move up. If you can take on the TV champion, even if you don't win, you're building equity by lasting in the ring. Even in a loss, you're winning.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. Jay, what would you do differently with the TV title?
So, I mean, look, when we look at it's a tale of two titles, right? You look at when Pope was champion, and you look at when Tyrus has been champion, and you look at all the equity that the Pope built into that championship, made it valuable, made it a commodity. You got to remember that title had a 2-day title reign for Ricky Starks. He had absolutely zero opportunity to grow that title. Zicky Dice was champion during the middle of a pandemic. Again, zero opportunity to make that title meaningful or incredible. The Pope wins it in Long Beach, California, primetime live, brings all the credibility and value to it. That title gets to be so important that they start booking matches on episodes of Power to determine the number one contender. When was the last time we saw a number one contender match for the TV title on Power or USA? And so I think right then and there, you could see the value of a good champion. Tyrus, I get why he's champion. I get the value that he brings to the table. There's no reason that he should have this undefeated 380-plus run as TV champion. He needs to drop the belt. He should have dropped it to Mims at the pay-per-view. I echo your commentary, Tim. I don't know, maybe Mims was hurt, but that seemed like the most opportune time to do it. And if not him, then somebody else, and soon, because I feel like that title's become so stagnant. You're going to have to start all over again, and all the equity that the Pope built in that championship has been squandered.
Yeah, Dave, you were there. Was Mims hurt in that match?
I believe so. He did come out with his arm wrapped, so I don't know if it was an existing injury, but there are photos online of him at the hospital. And I mean, unless someone has a fake hospital room set up that they can take pictures in, he does. I mean, I believe he was injured before or during the match. He may have just gone into the match injured, and they had to just adjust on the fly.
Yeah, we hope he gets better soon, and you know, we'd like to see him get back into the TV title picture and maybe even be that guy. Let's go to Jeremy Reports. Jeremy is going to talk about the United Wrestling Network, some news and results that he can share with us. And we want to always touch on the UWN here every week. We love the UWN. We love Dave Marquez Productions. I'm talking too much, Jeremy. It's your bit.
All right. So first, we're going to start out with the results from Championship Wrestling from Memphis. The show opened with a recap of Max Kruger attacking K Toomer immediately after K Toomer pinned Rhino with a spear, by the way, clean in the middle of the ring. Then we get Pete Prentice Pranica, the voice of the Memphis Grizzlies, is commentating with Dustin Starr. Our first match is Carlos Alexander Rios versus Gio Savage. No sooner than the match started, Mads Kruger came out and interrupted that, laid waste to both of them. Then he calls out K-Tumor and tells him that his reign is going to come to an end real soon. Then we get a recap of Mike Anthony, the Memphis Heritage champion, of attack that he had done on the trainees at the Wrestle Center a week or two back. Then he cuts a promo before a bout with Zay Washington. Zay Washington is in tag team the Young Goats there in Memphis. And I want to take a quick second to highlight this match because that kid's a star. I mean, just flat out. If you haven't seen that match yet, I highly recommend going back and checking it out. It was a banger. It was absolutely great. Then we've got an Austin Lane promo. He tells everyone Zay is a star. And then he calls out Norman Meklikoff and Matt Williams and wants a fight. He doesn't want a match. He wants a fight. And that happens. And then the numbers game took its toll on him. Trace Hunt comes out to make the save, and then that sets up a tag team match next week for the 4th of July. Zicky Dice comes out with his championship wrestling from Hollywood Heritage Championship and his Internet Championship on his shoulders. He comes out there, talks a little bit about that, how there's nobody there anymore, so he's basically the Internet champ and nobody can take it. And then Ryan Rembrandt comes out and challenges him. That sets up a match for next week. They do a quick sit down with Big Swole Justin Cole. And then we've got the main event match with Dirty Diana Taylor and Nyx. Nyx won that one with a DDT to Dirty Diana Taylor. Then there's a quick promo of the posse, and they had kidnapped Briar of the Skimmerhorns, Free Briar, hashtag Free Briar. And then we go to Brett Michaels comes out and calls out Mike Anthony. Money Mark comes out instead and says he's there because Money said to be there. And then Big Jack and Big Bruce come out. They attack the gun show Brett Michaels, and they leave him laying after they put him through a table, and that was the end of that show. And then on
what did you think of it overall?
Overall, I'm going to tell you right now that if you're not watching Memphis wrestling every Saturday, you're really missing out on an hour of the best wrestling probably going right now. What Dustin Starr is doing over there is just he's booking for the stars, and he's doing it. You know, he's constantly got people coming in to enhance the talent that they have there. Zicky's already came in and had 2 other matches with Uncle Mikey, and I can't remember the second person that he's wrestled for the Internet Championship. And both times, you know, it was a give and take match, and he really allowed the talents that he was across from to be highlighted. With the K-Tumor and the Rhino, that was a really good one. Rhino came out there and did the JOB, you know, clean in the middle of the ring, and it really elevated somebody that the crowd is behind in Memphis and K-Tumor. So like I said, if you're not watching it, you really should. You check it out. Then we've got Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. The opening match on this was Chris Dickinson and Willie Mack.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Not so much, or was it good?
That was good. They told a great story. It started out in typical house fight fashion, you know, and then Dickinson started going for that tiger leg drop. And that tiger corkscrew leg drop, and really started building a story with that, and that carried out throughout the entire match. in the end, Dickinson did get the win on that, but immediately after that, Jordan Clearwater came out, Mr. Red Carpet Rumble winner.
Yes, sir.
And he didn't get it immediately, but you have a new Heritage Championship in Championship Wrestling.
World champion.
Oh, new world champion in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. That's right. And yeah, that's right, because Zicky's the Heritage Champion.
Yeah, so Chris Dickinson was your world champion, and he, famously they had that tournament back in 2020 that got pushed all the way to 2021. They finally crowned the champion, and then some things were happening internally, externally. Chris Dickinson was not the commodity they were hoping for, and so when he lost when he beat Davey Richards, it kind of shocked a lot of people because they thought that they were going to take the belt off of him there. Then you bring Willie Mackett, who's a homegrown Hollywood talent. For sure, they're going to take the belt off of him there. Not so much. Then they bring out Jordan Clearwater. Jordan Clearwater in 2020 ended the year as the Heritage Champion. 2021 ended the year winning the Red Carpet Rumble. And in the very summer of 2022 becomes your United Wrestling Network World Champion. And this storyline is far from finished. Jordan Clearwater will continue to evolve. If you guys aren't watching Hollywood, you definitely should, because some things are going to happen very, very soon with him.
Yeah. He's a star. I mean, put it on him for sure. Let's see what he can do. He's still young. He can make mistakes and recover from them. So if it's not the title run that they had envisioned right now, that's not to say that a year or two down the road that it doesn't come to fruition and he just takes them to completely new heights. After that, we had Lord Crew with Halston Body and Koto Hira. And Lord Crew, just poor Koto. I'm really intrigued with Halston Body's new, very serious, very just spooky. He is very determined. And Lord Crew is a great, another one that I'm familiar with, and just he's fun to watch, and he's got a great style, great look, and he's just a great bruiser. After that, we had a quick little segment with Howdy Price, trying to get him some more managerial duties. Then we had AJ Mana, the Samoan Shooter, and AMF, Alejandro Mauricio Fernandez. And AJ Mana won that one. That was an interesting match. They both looked great in it. It was a fun little match. I'm interested to see what this AJ Mana guy does. Then we had Brendan Devine with Jack Banning and Hunter Freeman versus Dom Kubrick. Jack Banning is an interesting gimmick right now. What he's doing, the whole Eat the Rich and just getting followers, is quite interesting. I'm very newly introduced to him, but I like what I see. The Hunter Freeman guy that he has, he's not a big guy as far as muscles on muscles or anything, but he's a big guy. And him and Jack Banning together with Brendan Devine, that's scary. Brendan Devine ended up winning that one, and then they all come in and attack Dom Kubrick. Judiz comes out to make the save, and Honest John. In the process, Honest John turns on Judiz and Dom Kubrick and gives the old heave-ho low blow to Judiz, and he apparently now is following Jack Banning as well. So I'm curious to see where that one goes, because that's another one that I'm new to, but I've seen a couple of his matches and I liked what I saw. So him with a vicious streak could be interesting as well. And that wraps up Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, Championship Wrestling from Memphis, and United Wrestling Network News. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you know what, man? If you like you said about Memphis, if you're not watching the UWN, and for me, it's Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Like it's just where I have focused recently. And my daughter just is like, "Can we watch this now
Yep.
when it's on?" And you can pull up a random match online, um, and just go, "Okay, what's this on this date?" And I'm telling you, it's going to be an amazing production.
Yeah.
So appreciate that. I always want to pitch the UWN. I'm going to go to Dave in about 1 minute. I'm going to skip what I was going to talk about altogether. But I have to give away this before I forget. This is been on my Twitter feed and Instagram for some time. It is a Four Horsemen Hall of Fame 2012, I think, action pack. The greatest version of the Four Horsemen. People on Twitter were liking it and sharing it and doing everything that they was. Well, most people did it correctly. But what I have learned from all the giveaways, and I've given away belts more than once and other stuff along the way, what I have learned is that, just as an observer, is that the people who do it consistently more than once, over and over and over again, have been successful. Last time it was a guy who, I did not know had like 53% of all total votes was this guy. Like it was incredible, and that's how you win. And that's what happened here, where 28% of all possible votes was cast by someone I do not know, a lady whose handle is AmyRD_24, who posted a ton about this, really wanted to win it. You have won it, my friend. I will contact you on Twitter, and I will get this out to you very, very soon. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
I want to go to Dave. I know we're running a bit late, but this seems so much fun. This is a segment there where, Scooby's going to talk about some of the great things over the next few weeks of the past that worked really well in pro wrestling that maybe we've gotten away from, and what can we learn from them? And he has picked the 5 count from the big men to focus on this week. So tell us about it, Dave.
Well, I believe King Kong Bundy was one of them that they used the 5 count for. My thought, you could possibly use it down the line, or it would have been better to use it when Tyrus first won the TV title. Make it special. It's a gimmick, but I think it could work anytime, any place. My idea would be possibly use it with Max the Impaler.
Yeah.
Highlight the strength of I'm unstoppable. It's not
We lost Dave again.
2-3 counts on and lost me again. But
But now you're back.
I'm going to have to check my internet. I'm not sure what the deal is, but yeah, my thought on the 5 count is use it to highlight somebody that you deem as unstoppable. Make them special. It's not anything that's, to me, it's not idiotic. It's just highlighting that they're different. And that's
I
think that's a
go
great
ahead.
idea, Scooby, especially you pulled out the wild card with Max the Impaler, because if she's going to be an eventual challenge for Camille, I mean, she fits all those bills similarly to how King Kong Bundy was. Different shape, different size, power, force, and yeah, I think you killed it with that. I think that'd be a great gimmick.
Jeremy, what do you think?
I love that idea. I was always a fan of King Kong Bundy and his 5 count. That was always so much fun to see. Just the different ways that he would ensure that he would get that 5 count. It was always fun. And Max would make a great person to introduce that to into the NWA. And it I guess I love the idea, Dave. That's just spot on, bro.
I got to tell you, like, the 5 count is burned into my wrestling vernacular. Like, I have 4 kids, and they range from late 20s to 12. And my oldest boy, when he was about, like, just listening to me, we'd wrestle on the floor, and I'd commentate as we're wrestling with the kids, right? And when he would pin me, which would be every single time, I'd go down and I'd count for myself 1, 2, 3, and he'd go 5. I'm going 5. 4, 5. That's how ingrained it is, and just my kids don't even really watch wrestling, and that's how big it is. And I think you picked on something right now that's incredibly special, and I think Max the Impaler would be an amazing person to put that on. So, Billy, if you're listening, stop hacking and start listening to Dave, because I think he's onto something here. Willie says, well, Dodie says he is hacking, so there you go. I put this up a second ago. Challengers for the National World Heavyweight title. Anthony Idol. I don't know. Rodney Matt Crimson Mims for the NWA TV title. We are late and much later than I intended to be, but that's it. I think that's our last segment. So, wow, this is our first show. I think it went okay. I'm sure we'll hear all the things we did wrong from Dad over here when we get off the air. But let's pitch the socials. Dave, where can they find you online?
Dave, how can they follow you on social?
They can find me on Twitter at Dave Scooby, like the dog, DAVESCOOBY. And probably about 95% of what I talk about is wrestling, and the other 5% is just idiotic stuff that just pops in my head.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
Oh,
Jeremy, how about you?
You can find me over on Twitter at HJWOTS. That's the only socials that I have. I don't mess with anything else.
Jay, pitch the big show, Jay. Where can they find you, and what about the website?
Well, first, real quick, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Tim, thanks for inviting me on the inaugural episode. I've never met Tim or Jeremy in person, and I only met Dave Scooby at the Crockett Cup. So it's kind of cool to see all you guys on the screen at the same time. And I really enjoyed today's episode. I hope everyone watching enjoyed it as well. I think it's definitely something different than what we were already doing. So that's what I really like about it. But if you want to hear a bunch of cranky old dudes talking about the show that you guys watched on Tuesday night, or on Saturday night, then tune in to the Alliance Guys podcast, where me and at least DKM are going to get all crotchety and nitpicky about pro wrestling that we love so much. We'll tell you everything that we think is right with the NWA, and we don't hesitate to tell you everything that we think is wrong with the NWA. And that's kind of our wheelhouse. We like to be, the armchair quarterbacks. We like to call it like we see it. Mostly we just like to irritate, anyone that works for the NWA, apparently. So, Billy, stop hacking the podcasts. And, we'll see you guys Thursday night. I hope you all join us. We start that show at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, right here on the same channel you're watching right now. And we look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow night as well.
I just punched these socials into the bottom on a banner. Our hashtags, we are the Alliance, join the Alliance, NWA fam, and hashtag, I guess the new one, the other Alliance guys. Thank you everybody for joining us. I tried to think of a really cool way to end the show. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to paraphrase a great man. For next time, whenever you think that you've got all the answers, we're going to change the questions.